Hello you lovely people, this is a bit of a bonus video. I wasn't expecting to do this one. This is going to be my top 5 picks of the Baron sale for this Saturday on the 8th of March. Now it's a great sale, very eclectic. If you want to see the full walk around video, if you go over to the Manor Parks Classics channel, you will see every single car, every single bike. That's going to be probably an hour and 10 minutes of your day. But if you want a quick, I don't know, 8 or 10 minutes of my 5 top picks from this Saturday, and I'm going to try and do something for you at every price point, something aspirational, something cheap, no reserve, some stuff in the middle. And you know me, I like random things. So I can't promise that they're going to be the most desirable of cars to the average collector, but to me at least, this is the stuff that I would take home if it was my money. So what would be my aspirational pick? If you've got a few quid burning a hole in your pocket and you want something that's very special, very rare, I think incredibly collectible, and possibly, if you're prepared to sit on it for a long, long while, could be money in the bank. And to be honest, it's so cool. If it wasn't, would you really care? You know, I'm a complete Ian Callum fanboy. He's a very good friend of mine and a very lovely man. I also think he's one of Britain's most genius car designers. And this is one of his finest creations. If you want to have a look at the story of the DB7, it's interesting. It was meant to be a Jaguar to start with. It was under the auspices and the umbrella of Tom Walkinshaw. Ian designed this car, and I do think it has aged utterly brilliantly. We did a walk around evening at the British Motor Museum where Ian was good enough to tell us why he'd done the car the way he had. And it's a really interesting story, this. But this particular example, 1996, this car, one former keeper on the logbook, ridiculously low mileage. I think the best colour for a DB7. I think the best gearbox for a DB7, because this one is manual. It's just got everything going for it. It's a concours winner only a year ago. It's just a no questions car. It's had a new radiator, it's had a new charge, it's had a new stereo fitted. Everywhere you look, all the places where these are scabby and scruffy, it's going to be a big ticket item. I think you'd probably need to spend about 30 grand to put this in the garage, and you can buy these cars for between 15 and 20, but they're not as nice as this. They're probably automatic because they only made 500 manuals. I do think if you do want one, stretch now. It'll seem very expensive today, and then fast forward 10 years, it'll seem like a bit of a bargain. But just have a look at the detail. It is exceptional. So that is my aspirational pick. And this is what I mean about it's worth spending a little bit more. This is a concours winning car. If you look under the bonnet of a 15 grand one or a 20 grand one, it'll probably be very nice. But this is as new. This is easily the best car I've seen. If you do want one, stretch yourself. I promise you, I've done it before. I've bought cars at probably at the top of the price range because they're the nicest one I could find. It always seems painful at the time, but just look. 3.2 supercharged. No wonder it's won the concours, because everything you look at, every clip, every pipe, every belt, everything looks like brand new. And I just think you'd struggle, even at the slightly chunky price this one is, to get a better one. You could spend more than 10 grand making a 20 grand car not as nice as this. So that's my pick. Now, how about this for my sports pick? It's going to be quite a sensible price. The Toyota MR2, this generation, is kind of the unloved MR2. The Mark 1, everybody wants one. The Mark 2, I think, almost baby Ferrari, beautiful little car. The Mark 3, because I think the looks are a tiny bit more challenging, not everybody loved them. They went through a phase where everyone was cutting them up to make 360 and 430 kit cars. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we've got through that, and now in their own right, they're a model that people want to buy. And if you've ever driven one of these, you'll understand why. The handling of these cars is absolutely incredible. Really fun little sports car. And as yet, they're not stupid amounts of money. They haven't quite got to that point yet. I don't think they'll ever be hugely expensive, because not everybody likes these lights. But they are a very nice example of what the Japanese do best. A lightweight, very drivable, very chuckable, very tunable sports car. Why I like this one so much is this. Look at the mileage. The mileage is, look, 11,967, with all sorts of stuff to suggest that that's correct. It's also had only 2 owners, which is why we think the mileage is correct. But also just look at the condition. When you see these, they're always, you know, small amounts of money, but always a little bit scruffy. The corners have been knocked off. They need paint. The arches are starting to go. That is not the case here. The interior, if you look at the leather, the stitching, it looks like brand new. It is absolutely crazy. That's how you know it's a low mileage car. The driver's seat and the passenger seat are just astonishing. There's a set of mats in there that's never been fitted. But everywhere you look, all the paintwork, the wheels, which have a very tasteful spacer. So I must point out this car's been tastefully modified. It's got a few nice things that I would think are okay. Wheel spacers, pre-cat delete, a few bits of tuning, the spoiler. But even the hood, if you look at the condition of the hood and the hood bows, it's extraordinary. Now, the estimate on this car is going to be, he has a look, 4,500 to £5,500. I just think that's astonishing value for a car with 11,000 miles on. That, if you bought that for £5 plus your commission, I think you'd be very happy indeed, and I think you'd have one of the greatest little Japanese sports cars just in time for summer. Now this is very special. Now I had the great pleasure of actually delivering this one from Manor Parks North in Runcorn down here to Manor Park South in Southampton. Why is this car special? Well, first of all, you can see it's a long wheelbase Jaguar V8 Sovereign. I think one of the greatest specs. I had the very great pleasure of driving Her Majesty's the Queen Daimler 66 long wheelbase, which is basically the identical shell that Her Maj had at Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust. They are just so special. They define the word waft, and I've driven this one 300 miles to the sale from the north to the south on the motorway, and it's a really nice car. A couple of things to do on the car. So the brakes are a little bit long in their travel. It's got a noisy wheel bearing, but in terms of just comfort, because it's got these tiny, tiny wheels, these super tall tyres, that V8 engine, I think this has the basis of a great project car. If you look closely, the paintwork on every panel sadly starting to de-lacquer. There's scratches and marks. But what it does have, where XJs go rusty, so arches very, very good, inner arch very good. There's a little bit of a cauliflower here. What normally causes that, I would say, is when it's had a windscreen change at some point, the fitter nicks it, and then unfortunately you get this cauliflower bubble. But inside, it's just fantastic. Not only are you very comfortable as a driver, and if you're tall, the X308s, this is the facelift Jag that replaced the 300, the seat goes much further back. They have a lot more legroom. And talking of legroom, if you sit in the back, my word, is there some room. The room in the back is absolutely astonishing, even if my seat is set for me. And what I love in the Sovereigns as well, the long wheelbase cars, is if you're on the near side rear passenger, there's actually a seat button in the back to push that seat forward so you can stretch out and sleep. Now, because it's a no reserve car, it could go, I think, for very, very sensible amounts of money. Like I say, if you are wanting to make it perfect, you are going to have to spend quite a lot of money, because it probably will need at least lacquering on every panel and probably painting. But as you can see in this fantastic video, it's a good 10-yarder. It's a nice, presentable car to use. Most people won't notice. You'll enjoy driving it. And particularly if you've got kids and if you've got large teenage kids, it's possibly the best classic you could drive because it's got so much room in the back. So I would definitely have a look at that one. In fact, you know what? I'm going to have a bid on that one myself. So we've had aspirational, we've had sports, we've had luxury, the epitome of luxury. Now I'm going to do my unexceptional pick, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense. I mean in Festival of the Unexceptional. If you haven't yet gone to Haggerty's Festival of the Unexceptional, you're missing a trick. They have it every year, and it's a celebration of the cars that you used to see everywhere, the stuff that your mum and dad had, the stuff that your gran used to drive, and now you just don't see them anymore. And I will also put this one under the heading, when did you last see one of these? Look at this, 1998 Mazda 323 LXi. I can't even remember the last time I saw one of these on the roads, but aren't they a great looking car? So it's really clever because it's a 5-door hatchback, so it's sensible 1500cc family car that you can take the dogs and the kids in, but they're actually kind of like almost a coupe-esque body styling, and they were very popular and they sold a lot of them, but for whatever reason, I guess rust, cost, price, you just don't see them anymore. But this, I think, were you to take it to Festival of the Unexceptional, you would be greeted like a conquering hero because it's just such an unusual car. The mileage is lovely as well. It's on 48,000 miles. It's got some service history, but not all. 6 stamps in the book. It's got a current MOT. It's got some non-more period Fox F2s. I used to sell a lot of cars back in the day, and Fox F2 was a wheel that I put on quite a few Saab convertibles because they were quite nice and quite cheap. But have a look at it, just look around. I just think, again, cars you don't see anymore, cars you can buy for not a lot of money. It's estimated at 1 to 2k. So you might buy that for 1,500 quid. Give it a little clean and a polish. It's actually a good little car. It's quite level. The paint's all right on it. The interior is very, very nice. And I just think to have something that no one else has got, and it's Japanese, so it will start, it will run, it'll do all the things you want it to do for 1,500 quid. Have a look at that one. Right, and my final pick is my project pick. What is the car that I would like to take away and restore if I had the time? Which sadly I don't at the moment, but you could. Maybe you can do what I can't do. And it's this, it's an Opel Kadett. Now, if you're watching from afar, like Germany in particular, you will already know how cool these are. Now in Britain we got the Chevette, but for a very brief time, the bizarre thing was we had Vauxhall and Opel dealerships sometimes in the same building, and you could go in, put your money down and get yourself a Kadett. Now this is a right-hand drive British Kadett, so it's super, super rare, proper survivor car, really half decent shell. There's a few bits to do. It will definitely need a pair of front wings, and the vendor of this car has got them. And understandably, he's not going to chuck them in. He knows what he's got. So they're going to be available by separate negotiation. But this one here is going to be about 3 to 5 grand is the estimate on this. I absolutely love it. Do yourself a favour, Google Berg Cup Opel Kadett and just revel in this. This, you can imagine, yellow top half, black bottom half. Wouldn't this be an amazing car? And particularly I love it because no one else has got one. We didn't get them and they were only here for such a short time. And as much as I love Vauxhalls, and I have a few, Opel's just somehow cooler. I don't know what it is about the Opel brand. It was always just that bit cooler than the Vauxhall brand. And I also prefer the snout of the Kadett. I prefer the tail of the Kadett. It's just a really good looking car. I think you could spend a little bit of money on this and make it quite passable and drivable. It is of course historic. It's exempt from everything. It says the mileage is 30 odd thousand. If you check the MOT history, that's gone around the clock. It's 130 odd thousand. Wouldn't take a great deal of money to get it rolling and running. Do a deal with the vendor on the wings. You've got yourself a wicked car. And no one else has got one. So there you go, that was my walk around. That is my top 5 picks from the sale on Saturday the 8th. If you want to see all the other cars, go to the Manor Parks Classics walk around video where you will see literally every car and every bike. But if you like the look of these, register to bid, go on the Baron's website, I'll put the link in the bottom, and get yourself down to the auction. It's a lot of fun. Even if you just come and have a look, it's a great day out. But thanks for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time.